Hey, it's your girl Rasati out here in Singapore, and I wanted to stop by because I kind of did something polarizing, y'all. I don't do that very often. I'm very encouraging. I kind of stay in the middle lane most times because I can see how you would feel about something, and then I could see how somebody who is against you would feel about something. So I don't really like say much that's polarizing, but today I heard something that kind of echoed this instinct I've been feeling for a while now. Like, I love the idea of meditation, and I've been listening to Mastin for a while. He had an episode of his podcast where he interviewed Ariel Ford, and I was blown away because as much as I love the concept of meditation, it is a quick fix. It is a topical ointment. It is something on the surface. It does not fix anything that's deep and painful and overwhelming. Okay, so I'm going to try really hard not to use like a lot of vague terms because I do that a lot too. But I want to explain what I mean by this. So that's why I call this episode Ice Cream on Poop, because that's exactly how Ariel Ford described it. And I feel like, that'll get your attention enough for you to actually listen to the damn episode and understand where I'm coming from. Okay? Got it? You ready? All right, here we go. So, I was raised in an ashram. Okay? I had the privilege and the pleasure of growing up around Swami Satchidananda. Y'all know this about me. I lived in Yogaville for over 10 years, but Swamiji has been a part of my life since I was born. I remember, walking around a big fountain with him here in Singapore. We've always talked about what Swamiji was up to, what he was doing. We read all of his books. We lived this ecumenical yogic life. And I felt good about that. Now, ecumenical, for those of you who aren't familiar, means that you accept all forms of religion because you understand that essentially all of them are saying the same thing. Eat to live to serve, do good, be good, love all, serve all. Basically, that's what we're talking here, right? Obviously, each religion has their own way of doing these things. They have their own systems and processes, superstitions, all that stuff. But essentially, do good, be good, love all, serve all. That's it. No restrictions, no contingencies, no if-then statements. Just do that. That's it. Very simple. So with that came life with yoga, life with meditation. Every week we went to what could be considered as, a spiritual gathering, but we called it satsang. Satsang in Sanskrit stands for good company. So we sat together, all of us from all different walks of life, all different religions, all different age groups, big and small, young and old, all of us. We sat together and we had a chance to ask Swamiji questions every Saturday. We had some chanting, we had some meditation, we had some performances sometimes, but generally we got a chance to ask questions of Swamiji and listen to what his answer would be. And anytime you speak to any of these spiritual people, the answer that they give is so daggone simple. It's so simple. Well, if this hurts you, don't do it anymore. And if this upsets you, get to the root cause of it, fix it. Very, very simple. But we don't do that here. We want a biohack. We want a quick fix. We want a magic bullet. We want all those easy answers because, wait for it, we don't want to deal with the darkness. We want to brag that we have it. We want to talk about, oh my God, I've seen the dark. I've lived through some crazy things. And you know what? I'm gangster like that. Nope. That's not enough. For me, I've lived through physical, emotional, sexual abuse. I've lived through 4 abortions. I've lived through a divorce. I've lived through some deep, dark stuff. Okay? But I'm not going to lie. I'm not fixed with all that stuff either. I think I am until a new lesson appears and it reveals a next level of that, that chapter that I thought I'd closed. I have daddy issues. I have mommy issues. I have a fear of abandonment. I have all kinds of stuff. Okay? My issues got issues. But the point being that I'm trying really hard to work on those things. I don't brush them aside. I don't shove them in the carpet, or under a couch cushion or something and go about my life. But sometimes I do. I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do. I do avoid it sometimes. But usually what ends up happening is I could put it aside for a while, but it's going to keep popping up until I'm like, oh my God, okay, you know what? I'm just going to deal with this. Okay? So once you deal with it, though, what does that mean? That means you need to be able to open up and tell the person you feel this way about something they did. I don't know how many years ago or when it was or whatever, it doesn't matter, but you're going to have to say that it hurts you. And once you say out loud that it hurts you, it kind of loosens its grip on you. You give the other person a chance to apologize or not, but you give them a chance. You provide the opportunity. And once you provided that opportunity for the other person, then you got to go in and do the dirty work, okay? Which means, why did I get upset with what they did? Let me give you an example. I have a lot of darkness to deal with where it concerns my children. The only thing I ever wanted to be was a mom. The only thing. That was my entire aspiration in life. Why? Because I feel that moms get to do a little bit of everything. And I'm not one of those people that likes monotony. I like variety. So as a mom, I get to be a chef. I get to be, an artist. I get to be a nursemaid. I get to be a teacher. I get to be a pioneer. I get to be everything, okay? Because my child is going to need that from me at some point in her life. So as someone who desperately wanted to be a mom, and I even had all my rules written out for how I was going to parent and stuff. It was based on the rules that didn't work on me and the rules that made me feel badly as a child. Okay. And shout out to my parents. I love them both. The point is, they didn't know any better. So they did what what was done to them. Okay. They passed it down. No problem. I'm going to change that pattern there. I'm going to break that curse. Okay. But for someone who desperately wanted to be a mom, to raise a child, who knew in her heart that a child's love is unconditional, and that's what we're all looking for, is unconditional acceptance, right? Acceptance does not mean that I condone your behavior. It just means that I understand this is what you're going through right now. This is who you are right now. I love you. I'm going to love you through it. I'm going to love you past it. I'm going to make sure that you know you're supported. So whatever changes you got to make, you can safely make them, or at least try, right? But I had to wrestle with the idea of being in a relationship where I wanted the relationship more than I wanted the unconditional love. I knew in my heart it was wrong to end an innocent life, but I did. And I cannot, in good conscience, blame anyone else, because ultimately that decision was mine. So for a long time, I dealt with the fact that I thought I was a murderer. And in some cases, yes, I still believe that. I murdered my own children. And so all those pro-life, pro-choice people, you know what? I sit on the fence. I see both sides of this, and it was very difficult for me. It was hard for me to come out and blame the person I was with. But ultimately, I had to understand that I was in a relationship twice, okay? Because the first abortion was with my first boyfriend. The next three were with my husband. Kuti G is my middle child, technically. Now, it wasn't until my grandmother passed away, and this would have been 2 years after my last abortion, where I realized that, you know what, I have not dealt with this. And it just so happened that I missed my grandmother so much, and I started thinking about all the things that, we had been through, and I remembered the first time I went through an abortion, my grandmother stopped talking to me. Yes, I was open about it. I told my mom drove me, unfortunately. I hate to say that. I had to drag her into that. My mom drove me, and I told my grandmother, and I told Swamiji. Actually, there was a lot of spirituality behind this, because I told Swamiji came to know it. I did not have the guts to tell him, but he said, look, you made a mistake. You had you got married. You had a child out of wedlock, okay? Which means there is no stable base for the child to grow up in. You made that mistake. Don't make another mistake. Don't compound this and get rid of the child. Now, I did. And I avoided him the rest of the summer, and guess what? He passed away that fall, and I did not get a chance to say I was sorry. I did not get a chance to stand before him and say, yes, I own this. I made this mistake. I will do whatever I have to going for. I did not get a chance to stand before him before he passed away. And he was so close to me, I felt like I caused his death. It was the first time I'd ever not done what he told me to do. But that's another story. Anyway, moving right along. My mom ended up telling my grandmother that this has happened, and this is, where I am in life at the moment. And she, of course, coming from a very strict Catholic background, she went to a convent for schooling and everything. She was like, you know what, this is a deadly sin, and she stopped talking to me for several years. She would not answer the phone. She would not speak to me. And this is the woman who raised me, okay? So when my grandmother passed away, I had to deal with that all over again. It's like all that stuff came up and I never got a chance to really talk to her about that stuff. And she didn't ever understand why I could even make a decision like that. That is it's an abomination. Okay? It is a deadly sin. How dare you take life? And we never got a chance to talk about that. So I actually contacted a medium and I spoke to her and I said, look, I'm lost. I've lost my grandmother. She was my anchor in this world. She was my sense of home, and she's gone now, and things are up in flux, and I don't know what to do. And the medium contacted, just reached out into the ether and was like, you know what, let's see what comes up, and maybe it will be an answer for you. It will maybe settle your heart a little bit. And she was able to contact my grandmother, and she said, you know what, she's a feisty little thing. I said, yep, that's exactly who that is. That's her. She's small in stature, but she's a big personality. I said, yep, that's my grandma. She said, you know what, she understands. And I said, what do you mean? I don't get it. I didn't ask a question. What do you mean she understands? She said she understands because she's with your 4 boys. And I swear my jaw dropped and I didn't know what to do about it. And I was like, holy crap, okay. Boys. All I've ever wanted was boys. And I have 4 boys, 2 before my daughter and 2 after, which means they're all looking over her. They're watching over her. They're making sure she's okay. So I feel good about that, but I still feel terrible because 4 boys, I would have had 5 kids. But she said my grandmother understood. She understood now the situation that I was in. It was an impossible situation. And yeah, I could have been brave enough to stand and fight for my kids and walk away. But then, if I had walked away and kept any one of those kids, I wouldn't have Gaia. If I had kept the next 2 after Gaia, I wouldn't be home in Singapore raising her, away from my husband in the drama that essentially follows him around. So I got a chance to look at that situation and understand that, okay, you know what? Whatever had to happen, had to happen. And unfortunately, yes, I was in a situation where I had to make that decision. And even though it was the right decision for my daughter to live a charmed life, it was still a difficult decision. I still have to deal with that. So for a while, I could not see pictures of children, diaper commercial. I mean, I swear I saw it over and over again. Diaper commercials, baby formula. In Singapore, it's really strange. In Singapore, you see buses with advertising on it that says, please have children. Why? Because the birth rate in Singapore is quite low. And I'm thinking, dang, I could have added 5, but you know what? I was not strong enough and I made the decisions that I made. So a lot of it is I had to go back. I had to relive those things. I had to understand that, you know what, I was presented with a situation and I chose and I have to own that choice. And it was difficult. I had to face that darkness. And it was years after the fact, but I had to face the darkness again. And chances are I will face it again when baby girl goes through puberty, and again when she starts being promiscuous, and again when she has, a steady boyfriend and wants to think about marriage and having children. I will revisit this darkness. It will never go away. It is part of my past. But I will revisit. I had to revisit again when I had a family member who had to face that decision herself. And she came to me and she said, I know you've been through this. Please, can you help me? And I said, sure, but the decision is yours. I'm not going to influence you one way or another. Whatever you decide, I will be here. Because there are other things you have to deal with on the back end. Whether you have the child or not, you're going to have to deal with some emotion. Now, meditation in the midst of making these decisions, when you're going through something big in life, you want peace, absolutely, yes, it can help you. But once the meditation is over and life comes back at you, you're going to have to find a way to be calm. You're going to have to be able to find something that you can hang on to so you can be happy, so you can be okay throughout the day. That chaos that ensues inside your mind, that is the result of so many conversations that you have not put away, so many things that you have not dealt with. Maybe because you didn't think it was big enough to have to deal with, until it festered a little bit and turned into a boil maybe, and it just hurts every so often. Meditation can definitely bring you back to center, but it depends on how long you meditate. That centering lasts for maybe a little while after you finish meditating. It depends on what time of the day you do it. Some people like to start their day first thing in the morning. You meditate, you set your intention for the day. You want to make sure that you have this great calm feeling throughout the day. But guess what? It doesn't last, it doesn't stretch out. A lot of people like to make fun and say, you know what, meditation, motivation, all that stuff, yeah, it doesn't last very long. You need it constantly. So that's why we recommend it. Like showering, you do it daily. Great, okay, fine. But how come we don't talk about the things that pain us daily? How come we don't revisit those things and deal with them, unpack them, look at all the things that it affects daily? Because it's ugly, because it's dark, because it's painful. I don't want to be pained. I don't want to be hurt. But guess what? What is depression? Well, you can't stop thinking about it. Can meditation help depression? Yeah, sure. Okay, for a moment. Depends on how you like your meditations. Do you like the kind that is very, very quiet? It just, hear a bell and you start meditating, and then you hear a bell and you stop meditating? Or do you like the kind that's guided, where someone speaks to you the entire time so you can get out of your own thoughts and listen to what the other person is guiding you to think about? Because you can't do it for yourself. You need that help. But once you're done, what happens? Life comes back at you. You have situations that trigger various different memories in your past. Maybe you're getting into a new relationship and you're afraid to commit, you're afraid to be monogamous, because that means you're putting all your eggs in one basket. And in the past, maybe your dad was not around all the time. And so you're afraid to be abandoned once again because you're giving that much power, or so you think, to the other person. That's what you believe at the time. Meditation can surely help you manifest and, imagine and get into that law of attraction space. Sure. But what happens afterwards? If you do not deal with the things that have happened in your past, the things that shape your decisions today, no amount of meditation will get rid of it for you. It will soothe you for a moment. It's like a baby crying, right? They say, spare the rod, spoil the child, don't pick them up, self-soothe, blah, blah, blah. That was the thinking for a long time. A lot of kids upset about that, okay? Because they are taught at a very young age that there is no one coming to rescue them. They got to do it by themselves. And that is a very lonely place to be. So guess what? When children cry, I tend to run to them because I want to pick them up, because it hurts my heart and I know it will soothe them too. And when I pick them up for a moment, yes, okay, it soothes them for a moment. Because after that, I still got to figure out why the heck they were crying in the first place. Sometimes it's food, they're hungry. Sometimes something hurt them. And obviously they don't have the words to be able to tell you what hurt them. You got to look around and see what's going on. When you carry them, maybe, the way you hold them hurts them, and then you can figure out, okay, this part is tender, it's bruised a little bit, okay, what could have possibly happened, how did you hurt yourself, and you figure it out that way. But the first thing is, you pick them up. Why? Because you need to stop the noise so you can think clearly, and I get it, that's what meditation does. But after that, you need to do the work. You need to go back, you need to think about, okay, well, why was I so upset? Why did the volume get so loud and all the noise all of a sudden? What was it? Where did it come from? Where did it start? Once you get that, then you can start to unpack. As in, take everything out. A lot of us love to come home from vacation and keep the luggage in a corner and use the clothes we have that's already in our drawers. We don't want to unpack, but we need to. At some point, we need to. Moving houses is like that, right? You pack everything up nice and neat. It's all beautifully boxed up, blah, blah, blah. You got it all labeled. You know which room it goes to. Come to the new house and you unpack the essentials, because you need underwear. You need something to cook in. You need, toiletries. And guess what? For a while, the boxes remain until you get around to unpacking. But that's where all the big work lies. Once you unpack, slowly you start to, distribute the stuff to the various rooms and stuff. And maybe you feel like, okay, the couch that I got doesn't really fit this space. And it was a big couch before, and I thought I needed a big couch, and now I realize I don't really need that. I could have a sofa, like a smaller sofa, maybe a two-seater, maybe just a futon, maybe something that does, pulls double duty. It could be a couch and a bed and whatever else I need it to be. You unpack. Why? Because until you need something in one of those boxes, you forget it's there. And I understand that's a coping mechanism. We avoid, we get anxious. I get it. But you gotta unpack. This life, here is where you live. This is your life. Maybe you move countries, maybe you move schools, maybe you move from one state to another. Maybe you move from one house to another just down the street. I don't know. But I know that all of us have trauma, and it's big to each of us. And I know that what I do to unpack may not work for how you need to unpack. But I've done it so many times, I know I can help you. I know I can stand by. I can, hold your hand through it. When it's difficult, I can be there. But you gotta let it out. You gotta open the box. You gotta let those things out. And then you gotta find a space for them where they are safe, they are taken care of. You know where they are when you need to go back and look. And you feel okay. You feel like there's more space to breathe. Depression can feel smothering, like claustrophobia. It's like all these thoughts. And with depression sometimes comes anxiety because you don't want to say anything, you don't want to go out anywhere, you want to stay put because it's safe in this bed right now. I know because I'm here right now. I know. I've been there. It's not fun. It's tragic. And by hook or by crook, I was forced out of that space, and you know what? I'm grateful. At the time, I didn't enjoy it. That first abortion was big for me. I felt like shit. And it was my mom. And she didn't know what she was doing at the time, and she did what she knew best. I mean, she knows you can't sit still and cry forever. You got to keep moving. And she told me, look, you got to get a job. You got to go do something. You can't sit here all day. You can't sit here all summer. And I was so mad at her. It wasn't even a week since the procedure. My body hadn't completely healed. I was still passing clots. It was terrifying. But she made me. Why? Because I live under her roof and I have no choice. She made me. So I walked a mile every day in the summer heat to work at a video rental store. And because it wasn't making enough money, I'd stopped asking my mom for help and money a long time ago. But because I didn't have enough money to be able to get me back to school and pay for the things that I needed, I got a second job. I worked at Subway. So when I wasn't working in the video store, I worked at Subway. They were all in the same little, parking lot, shopping strip, mall, whatever. It was easy to manage the schedule, and I walked to and from work. I hated her. I hated her back then. Because I was like, how could you do this to me? You don't even understand. You don't even take the time to really understand what it is that I'm going through. Why would you do this to me? And I made her the bad guy because I needed her to be the bad guy at that moment. It took off the pressure of thinking about the fact that I killed an innocent. I could have raised that child by myself. I was hell-bent, by the way, on not raising a child by myself because my mom was the parent. She was both parents because my dad was overseas all the time. He worked all the time. I never saw him. She was my go-to for everything. And I swore that I would not do that to my child because I know what it's like not to have my dad around. I know what it's like to have, a single parent. And I did not want that. Guess what? That was the plan all along. Because here I am. Single parent. I'm killing it, y'all. But now that I've accepted that as part of my life, I'm not fighting it anymore. I'm allowing it to make me the best mom that I could possibly be. The best mom and dad, I might add. I do the best I can. I've leaned into it. Because I've unpacked so many of those boxes, I'm calm all the time, which also means that I draw the attention of many, many upset souls, desperate souls, confused souls, because they're drawn to my calm. I am that calm in their storm, and I'm proud to be that. I've had many people tell me I have a very grounding effect on their life. Just a conversation and they feel better. They feel stronger. If you got to draw power from me, please do that. That's what I'm here for. To spread that light, to spread that love. I will love you through everything if you let me. I'm not saying I'm going to marry you. I'm not saying I'm in love with you. I'm saying this is unconditional love. This is that mother's love. I will happily deal that all day long. Because I know so many of you need it. Because no one's taught you where to go for it, how to get it, how to fix it. No one's taught you that. Well, I'm here. I'm willing. And while I do teach meditation, and I do teach yoga, those are just tools for those moments when you can't figure it out. When you have to calm down instantly. But I'm telling you, you still got to unpack those boxes. Those skeletons in your closet, you still got to take them out and put them away. Where they can't hurt you anymore, they can't embarrass you anymore, they can't send you right back to where you were when you put them in the closet in the first place. You got to own all of it, babe. So I'm telling you, meditation, as stupid as this sounds, but it really does illustrate the point. Ariel Ford said it best. Meditation is like ice cream on poop. Sure, it's ice cream. But once you get through that layer, there's still poop you got to deal with. I know plenty of people who are very spiritual, and they can do for others. But when they speak to me, all the garbage still comes out. I still see that. I have a young lady I love speaking with. But every so often she tells me, oh my God, I had a bad day. Oh my God, I had a bad day. Okay, I get it. Something happened. But I'm waiting for her to say, you know, I had a bad day and it's okay and I can figure it out. And I figured it out. I got it done. I sorted it out. It's okay. Nope. She tends to talk about it over and over again for a while, which means she has not unpacked what it means. She has not dealt with the poop part of it. It still bothers her because she sees reminders of it everywhere. That's why there's noise in her mind. I know what it's like. And I'm not saying I'm perfect because I got my own poop I got to deal with, okay? But I've unpacked a lot of it. And I can be your anchor if you need me to be. When you're being blown about by all these thoughts and all these concerns and all these people that just want something from you and don't understand why the relationships are like this, I can be that anchor. I can pull you back down to earth. I can be that mom, that big sister. I can be that. I think that was the role I was born to play. All you gotta do is ask. Be brave. Ask me for help. Let me know you're hurting. It's all well and good to put on a brave face and smile through everything. Yeah, okay, sure. But then don't question why no one checks on you. No one knows they need to check on you. Yeah, you're the strong person. You're strong because you're handling it by yourself. But guess what? Even those strong people have a circle of people around them they know they can go to. You can and you will survive. But I want you to get out of survival mode. I want you to live, to thrive. That's how much I love you. That's what I want for you. Because it's what I want for my own kid. It's what I want for my brothers. It's what I want for my mom. I want that for you. I can help you find that. It'll be an adventure for sure. But I can help you get there. All right, y'all, I'm calling it. I'll talk to you again soon, okay? But remember, I can't help if you don't invite me to help. I don't know to check on you if you don't tell me there's something to check on. I'll talk to you soon.